What's up, bro fam? I'm coming at you again with another ESO PvP build, but today I'm coming at you with my Magicka DK build. So this build is for the Blackwood patch. And start things off as usual, let's go over our attribute points, race, and Mundusto. So attribute points, we're rocking out with 60 into Magicka, 4 into health. It gives us a pool of 30,000 max Magicka and a 30,000 max health pool, which is great for PvP. Our race that we are using is Breton, because Breton right now for Mag DK is just very good. The cost reduction, the increased spell resistance, and the increased max Magicka pool is amazing. And then the Mundus that we are rocking is the Attribution-ShareAlike, which gives 310 Magicka recovery. So next, let's go over our armor pieces and sets that we're rocking. So on our front bar, we're rocking the Veterstrand's Ice Staff, and you gotta make sure it is sharpened. And if you don't know what Veterstrand is, what it does when you cast Weakness of Elements on a target within 15 meters, you basically put a beam on them and you do 948 flame shock or frost damage, and that damage increases by 1% each second, and it lasts for 10 seconds. Then on your back bar, we're going to be rocking Sword of the Armor Master, the Armor Master set. We're going to be rocking Sword and Shield, and what Armor Master does is it does 2 pieces max health, 3 pieces is armor, 4 pieces is armor as well, and then 5 pieces when you use an armor ability, it increases your armor by 5,800. So on this build, we're in 5-piece light, so we're going to be using Harness Magicka, which we'll get more into, and that's how we get that to proc. Our next set that we'll be using is Balorgs. Everybody knows this set. What it is the 1 piece gives 129 weapon and spell damage, and the 2 pieces, whenever you ult, you get that ult number added to your spell and weapon damage, and then on top of it you get that ult number times 23 added to your physical and spell pen. And then for our last set with this build, we're going to be running the Pariah set. What this does is 2 pieces max health, 3 and 4 gives a line of armor, and the 5 piece, as your health worsens, you get an increased physical and spell resistance. So like at full health, your current bonus is 2200, and as you get down to like 25% is where you hit that max, almost 10,000 extra physical resistance. Now let's go over traits like light armor, heavy armor, pieces like that. So on Veterstrand Ice Staff, we're going to be using Sharpened on it, since this is your front bar. This is where you're going to be doing your damage. And if you're wondering why I'm using a Frost Staff for the front bar, with this build I wanted to go Bruiser, so you can block cast on your front bar and on your back bar. If you would like, you can do a Veterstrand Inferno Staff if you want to pump out more damage. But how everybody is so bursty right now, blocking is a huge part of actually staying alive to be able to do damage. So being able to block cast on your front bar and on your back bar is huge. Then for your back bar, we have the Sword of the Armor Master. It doesn't really matter what one-handed you want, but you want to make sure the trait is power to increase your healing or dragon blood, inhale, your abilities essentially. And then you're going to have a Shield of Armor Master, sturdy, so it reduces the amount that it costs to block. Then you're going to be having your Balorgs light on your head, heavy chest piece for Pariah, Balorgs light on shoulders. You're going to have light sash of Armor Master, light gloves of Armor Master, heavy greaves of Pariah, and then light shoes of the Armor Master. And the traits that we're going to be rocking on all of our armor is 2 infused, 5 impen. The infused is going to be going on chest and legs. That being, we're going to be having triglyphs on head, chest, and legs. And then every little piece is going to just do max Magicka. And then for your accessories, you gotta have a Locket of Pariah infused, Signet of Pariah infused, and the Signet of Pariah infused as well. All of them, two of the rings are gonna be reduced Magicka cost, and the necklace is gonna be increased spell damage. So now that armor is done, and for in total the armor sets are gonna be 5 light, 2 heavy. Let's go over consumables and what we'll be using. So the food we're using is the Witch Silver Skulls. This is what I found to be the best outcome with this build. If you want, you can use Citrus Fillet for the increased mag recovery, but honestly, if you're at Mag DK, you have insane sustain, and the Witch just gives you the higher max pools. Potions we're going to be using is Essence of Detection. You don't really need this, but this is for those pesky night blades, especially because the patch we're in right now. We have Essence of Health, which is just tripods, and then we have Essence of Immovability for when you want to burst and not be stunned, or even if you have to run away. Now let's go over our champion points with this build. So since we are in light armor and we are using Armor Master, we have to use Annulment and morph into Harness Magicka, which is your light armor ability, and I'll go over that when we go over abilities. But being said, while you go in the red tree, we're going to start with 15 into Tumbling, 10 into Mystic Tenacity. We're going to go over to Hero's Vigor, get 20 more points into that. And this is the important part. You have to put 50 into Shield Master to reduce the cost of your damage shield abilities by 10%, because a Harness Magicka is a damage shield ability. And then you're going to put another 50 into Bastion to increase the effectiveness of them by 15%. This reason being is because your Armor Master set only procs when you use that ability, so you have to be in combat and you're pretty much going to keep the shield up at all times while fighting opponents. Now the next tree you're going to go into is Survival Instinct. You're going to put 50 points into it, and what this does is it reduces the cost of abilities by 25% when you have a status effect on you. And since you're a Mag DK, you have no cleanse, this is huge for you. We're going to put 16 points into Hasty. We're then going to put 20 points into Tireless Guardian to reduce our block cost, because like I said, we're going to be blocking on both bars, so it's essential to have block as cheap as you can have it. And then we're going to put 50 into Ironclad, which gives you 1700 armor. So now to go to the blue tree, we're going to start off with 20 into Eldritch Insight, giving you 520 max Magicka. Then you're going to go up to Extended Might. You're going to put 20 into Piercing to give you 700 pen. So now you're going to go up to Piercing. You're going to put 20 points into it for 700 offensive pen. Then you're going to go up to Mastered Arms, put 50 points into it to get your 10% damage done on direct damage abilities. Then you're going to come back down to Staving Death. You're going to put 20 points into Quick Recovery for that 2% increased healing. Then you're going to come down to Duelist Rebuff. You're going to put 50 points into it to reduce the damage you take from direct abilities by 10%. Then to finish it off, you're going to put 50 into Arcane Supremacy and 50 into Untamed Aggression, just for some raw increasing damage to your abilities. And then if you have excess CP points like I have right here, you can put 20 into Precision to increase your crit chance. You can put 20 into Tyler's Discipline to get a little bit extra max stamina, and so forth. Now for the last tree, the green tree. As usual in PvP, the green tree isn't that important, so we're going to have the same route as all my other videos. We're going to put 50 into Breakfall, 15 into Wanderer, 10 into Steadfast Enchantment, 50 into Treasure Hunter, 15 into Master Gatherer, and 100 into Gifted Rider. Then from here you can go down if you have excess points, put 30 into Rationeer, just to increase the time that food lasts on you, so it kind of saves you some gold. The most important part though, as always, is getting Gifted Rider to 100, so you have that 10% increased mount speed. So now let's talk about skills. We're going to start on our back bar, our Sword and Shield. Our first ability we're going to be using is Hardened Armor. This is our armor buff from the Draconic Power skill tree. It's your first active ability. What it does is it gives you 6000 physical and spell resistance, and then it gives a little extra bonuses, a little damage when you take damage, gives you a little shield. Now the next ability, this is the key ability for your Armor Master set that you're rocking. You want to use Harness Magicka. This is in your light armor tree. It's your very first ability. It's going to be called Annulment, and you morph into Harness Magicka. What this does is it gives you a damage shield, caps out at 50% of your max health, but it's also a really good way to maintain your Magicka, because while this is up, when you take damage, you're going to restore Magicka from the damage you take. Next ability is going to be Coagulating Blood. This is your burst heal. It's in Draconic abilities. It's third one down. Then your next ability is going to be Degeneration. This is your major sorcery, gives you your spell damage buff. If you do not have this ability, because this is a Mage's Guild, you have to be Mage's Guild level 4, you can go into Earthen Heart and you can put points into Molten Weapons and then morph it into Igneous Weapons. And this is another way to get your major sorcery. Degeneration is nice because it also gives a dot that does a little bit more damage. And then for the final ability, we're going to be using Draw Essence. This is in your Draconic Power abilities. It's the last ability. And this is another form of your heal and a form of burst damage, because when you first suck in, you do 2,541 damage, and you heal for 156% of the damage caused, and then eventually after 2.5 seconds you burst out, dealing 5,000 damage. So when you burst with your damage on top of using your actual damage abilities on your front bar, it's a lot of damage combined. And then for our ult on the back bar, we're going to be rocking Spell Wall. This is one-handed shield ability. What it does is when you pop it, it reflects all projectiles and instantly blocks for no stamina cost. Now let's go over to the front bar. So our front bar, this is our Ice Destro Staff. We're going to be rocking Elemental Drain. This is in your Destruction Staff skill line. It's second to last ability. And what it does is it gives opponents Major Breach, which reduces their spell and physical resistance by 6,000. And on top of it, it gives you Magicka Lifesteal. And because we're rocking the Vetastrain Ice Staff, this is what creates the beam that does continuous damage to the enemy. Our next ability is going to be Burning Embers. This is in your Ardent Flame abilities. It's the second ability. This is another form of a burst heal. You're going to put it on opponents, and when you want the heal to come in, you're going to refresh it, or when it ends, you'll get the heal. But as you can see, it heals you for 75% of the total damage inflicted. Now our next ability is going to be Fossilize. This is our CC and our root. This can be found in the Earthen Heart tree. Second to last ability. You're going to use this when you want to do your damage combos and when you want to CC opponents. Your next ability you're going to be using is Molten Whip. This is your spammable. This is the main form of damage from the Mag DK. It is Ardent Flame ability. It's the very first ability. And the important part about this, as you can see here, it doesn't really hit too hard. It's only like a 7k whip. But since it's an Ardent Flame ability and you morph it into Molten Whip, when you use other Ardent Flame abilities, you get these stacks, and it stacks up to 3 times, and each stack increases your damage by 33%. So now this whip is hitting for a whopping 13,000, and that's unbuffed. That's not no major sorcery, no battle orbs proc. 13,000 is a lot of damage. And then for the final ability is Flames of Oblivion. This is in your Ardent Flame tree. It's the last ability. You see a lot of Mag DKs run Cauterize, which is your heal. But with this build, you need something to proc your Ardent Flame abilities with your Lava Whip, and this is the cheapest ability that you can have, that you can manage your Magicka, because you can sit there and spam Burning Embers 3 times, but that's 6,000 Magicka compared to only using 3,000 Magicka by spamming Flames of Oblivion. And it is really nice because it's an AoE. It hits 2 targets, does direct damage, does 6,000, and on top of it gives you your Major Prophecy, which increases your spell critical rating by 2,600, which is essentially 10%. And then for the last ability on the front bar, we're going to be going with Ferocious Leap. This is in your Draconic Power, the ultimate ability. This is just huge damage, it's CC, it gives you a shield. In all, this is like the go-to ability on all DK builds. So, I hope you all enjoy this build. Let me know in the comments if you like it, what you want to know different, if you want to know anything like different Mundas you can run, if you feel your Magicka recovery is fine, just let me know. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day.